welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's AI product leader, expert in AI agents, MarTech and data platforms, director of product at leading MarTech C's platform, no other than Mr. Angshuman Rudra.
Hello, hello. Really excited to meet you, Danielle, and talk about books that shaped my career and life. And what will I do?
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, Mr. Anshman, let's talk about from dashboard to decision building AI agents for marketers. But before that, can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Definitely, definitely. So I live in the Bay Area in San Jose. I work in a company called TapClicks. I lead products there, the data and the analytics products. And we are in the space of marketing technology. And before that, I was a software developer. I grew up in India in a small town called Ranchi, which is like the eastern part of India. And I worked in Singapore, I worked in Bangalore, I worked in New Delhi, and then I moved to the Bay Area. Been here for the last 10 years, and I did my MBA at Cornell. So that's a little bit of my background. I love watching soccer, playing soccer, like all kinds of sports, starting from chess to cricket to tennis. I am playing pickleball a lot these days. That's the rage these days in the Bay Area. Like all the tennis courts are getting occupied by pickleball players. So that's the game I'm playing right now. And then apart from sports, AI and data is my favorite topic, and really excited to meet you and your audience to talk about dashboards, how data and AI is transforming this industry. We can talk a little bit about overall how data and AI and LLMs in general are shaping the future for other industries as well, right? Like just about this, right? Like I was just looking at all the podcast softwares and how AI has is like pushing through all the softwares in the space, Daniel, right? Like everything,
Yes.
like audio, video. How do you organize your podcast? How do you edit your episodes? Like everything, it's just amazing. And I'm actually an optimist, so we'll talk more about this. But yeah, that's my introduction.
Definitely. So, what inspired the shift from traditional dashboard to AI driven decisions agents in marketing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Dashboards, right? Think about it like some evolution, right? And this is not just marketing data, but any data. We originally had reports, and then people loved visualization, right? Like they would love to see a chart, they would love to see how data moves from one point to another across date. Like you've looked at your own walking charts, right? Like visualization is like, hey, how many steps did I do yesterday versus how many steps did I do last month the same day? We love to see visualization around that, and that's how data was evolved. Data has evolved over the years, right? Like initially it was just numbers and data. Now then it became visualization, and then what is happening now is like even visualization, it takes some time to consume that, right? Like you if you have a dashboard with like 10 charts and you have to like figure it out, how about you just get what is useful for you as a user, right? Like, oh, I'm a walker, I don't want to like look through all my bars across the last year to come up with this idea that, you know what, I need to do like 10% extra on my weekends. Like that's the actionable insight. That's all I need to know. I don't need to like come up with that insight by looking at my charts. And so that's where the future is going, is a lot of data, a lot of reports, then visualization and dashboards, and then like actionable insights that you can easily consume. Like you just read through it, that's it. Okay, this is where I need to do. This is how I need to spend more on, let's say, LinkedIn ads. or I need to uh, pause my spending on Google Ads, right? Like these are like very specific recommendations or insights that I need. I don't need to look through a bunch of dashboards and click through a lot of things to come up with that insight. So that's the future. That's what we are saying. That's what we are trying to build at TapClicks and in general, like in the Martech space.
How do you define an agent in the context of marketing and how it is different from traditional analytics tools?
So the way we kind of envision it, right? And it's interesting, right? Like so AI agents is becoming this buzzword now, right? Like everything has an AI agent. For me, it's about whether it's adding value to what we do in our day-to-day life, right? And to our users. And what are the core things that our users do, right? Like that's what we wanted to solve for. And we realized a lot of the time that they spent was on analytics. Right? A lot of the marketeers, they end up spending not on strategies, not on thinking about how to do a better job going after their audience. They're spending a lot of time thinking through the data, thinking through like their next strategy, and then making data driven decisions. And that's where like the marketing and analytics sort of converges. And an AI agent, what we can do is like build an AI agent to do the analytics, an AI agent to do the optimization, an AI agent to do the recommendation, right? Like that's how the future is gonna be. And in since we are in this intersection of marketing and analytics, right? Like that's what Taplex does. We are just fortunate to solve for these problems that our users have been facing, and we have been getting great response. Like again, as I said, like that's probably the future.
What's the biggest misconceptions marketers have about AI agents replacing human decisions making, Mr.
Hmm.
Angsman?
That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, again, I will keep it generic. I think AI, you know, the famous phrase of AI is not going to replace a job. It's going to, a person who is really good with AI is probably going to be the better one, right? Like he's probably going to replace your job. And so it's the same with this, right? Like, and a marketer, and we are seeing this every day, a marketer who is, accepting how AI can solve the day-to-day problem. And it's not just like writing an email or like doing some copy, but like really asking deep questions with their AI around
Mm-hmm.
the data, right? Like eventually, um, AI should replace the tedious job that you would not want to do yourself. But you should, right? Like a lot of times people, if you talk to a lot of marketeers, you'll hear that they do not end up spending a lot of time looking at the data and making data driven decision. They get like a super high level, like they look at the data and they have that gut feeling, and then they make their decision based on the gut. Like data kind of like helps them ground their decisions, which is great. But with AI, it can go more granular, it can be more detailed. So for example, like the small flickers in your data that a human brain may not recognize, AI can, and AI can give you that recommendation. And then as a human, you love that recommendation, right? Like, oh, all right, that's how it works. So on the weekends, people do not go on a LinkedIn, right? Like they're, I think wasting time on LinkedIn ads, like paying on LinkedIn ads, for example, is not going to help me, right? Like there are like insights like that which a human may not be able to spend time doing, but an AI can do that, right? Like so that's why again I'm like super optimist is an AI is supposed to help everybody and marketeers as well. And maybe what is going to change is the way someone worked may change, right? So maybe a marketer has to be more evolved in the sense that how they accept AI outputs. Maybe the way they have always made decisions may have to be a little different, but that does not mean the role is going to go away. The role is going to be more evolved, and people who are actually going to take advantage of this AI outputs are probably going to be better in their roles. But it's not going to take the jobs away. Like you always need a human to finally make the decision. You always need a human to have that creativity, that instinct, their understanding. That's never, I mean, I shouldn't say never, but it's not, AI is not even close replacing that part.
Human. Well, people, let's embrace human AI because this is our next innovation for the 21st century. Let's talk about technology and implementation. What are the key technical components needed to build an effective AI agent for marketers?
So the way I break down everything is two things, right? One are insights, right, which is like data driven uh, insights that you get, and so the agent kind of gives you recommendations. You have a human in loop, they kind of make the decision based on that. The other piece that's coming up a lot, Daniel, is the automation part of it. And you'll see like a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of like um, in, experts in the space, right? Like the AI agencies, where they're talking about automating the entire workflow of a marketer. Is I look at my audience data, I need to send out emails, I need to build out a workflow, all of that. AI is going to do that, right? So um, to build an AI agent, I would say, let's say someone is starting from scratch, right?
Mhm.
I will say maybe pick the automation. Depends on what is your strength, right? Like if you really understand workflows well of what marketers do and how marketers automate a workflow, you may want to do that. If you are really good with data, maybe like start with that, and then like think through what agents can um, recommend based on the data that you have or the data it's out in the web. And then like the best piece is to actually connect those agents, right? So the future is you have an agent that does a specific task, right? So let's say you have an agent that looks at the websites, it looks at the web, comes up with some really good research things. You have an agent that does a really good job of uh, automating or sending out emails to the right people. Now you have another third agent that looks at data that is already in your CRM and figures out what is your audience. So you can be focused on building out these individual agents, but the best part is when you actually have that orchestration where you connect all these agents together to have this machine for yourself that solves all these problems together, right? So it looks at your data, which is one of the agents. Another agent looks at the web data, and then combined, an agent kind of like figures out the workflow for you, right? And so let's say you want to send out emails to a lot of your customers or leads, right? Let's say you look at your CRM, you look at the website, and you come up with a subset, and then you send out the right emails with the right content to them. And then all of these are like been done by different agents. So I'm going to pause there because I spoke a lot, because it's such an exciting thing for me. But the
No
idea is like
worries.
break down your problem into separate stuff, and then look at what uh, agent what AI agents can do to solve those problems, and then think the bigger picture is like how can you connect all these agents together to solve the larger problem. That's how I would suggest. And don't get overwhelmed by it, right? Like just pick one small problem. Is like looking at your CRM, coming up with the best leads that you want to go after, or one agent that looks at the web data to come up with like super high level top of the funnel leads, right? Like it's just pick one small problem, build an AI agent for that, and then think of like boiling the ocean, like solving the bigger problem.
Mr. Osman, as a AI product leader, expert in AI agents, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short term, I'm really excited about the problems we are solving at Tapclicks right now. Like a lot of our users are loving what we have done so far. And that would be my short term, right? Is like the AI agents that we have already launched. We are launching more AI agents soon, and then the overall like just adoption of our products right now. That's my short term goal. Long term, I will say we have an opportunity, like Taplex and me personally, to disrupt a lot of the players in the space, right? Like the overall workflow solutions, the overall marketing operations, like how people do this work. I think with AI agents being so popular and tactics being at the forefront, I think we have an opportunity to disrupt the space, and that would be um, my idea. Just because we have the right data. So I'll just like say one more thing is, remember how I mentioned all these agents that does separate tasks, and that's actually like an easy thing to do. Uh, but what Tactics has is it has the data. It has the data that can actually map and have the reasoning of, okay, this is when this agent needs to run, and then this is when this other agent needs to run, and we have that. And so I will say like that's where the future is. I would love to build a product and get into that state where humans or marketeers would not have to spend a lot of time doing the tedious operational work. They will do more of the thinking, they will do more of the strategic work, and our AI products will help giving the right insights, doing the tedious work for you, Mr. Marketeer. So that's the long term goal. We are not there yet, but that's our hope.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Osman, and looking forward for more success.
Thank
And
you.
what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Um, I think there are like multiple things. Like I will say I will actually pivot to a book that I really love, which is Thinking Fast and Slow by Kahneman, right? And so I what has helped with AI right now is a lot of generalists, right? A lot of people who have interest in multiple subjects are getting better at getting stuff done. So one of the key things where I had struggled was like going super deep into one subject. So I have a software engineering background. I worked as a data engineer for a long time. I've been working as a product manager for a long time. I've done a lot of marketing. I have a lot of interest in sports, in literature, and I have like a lot of these interests. I'm like really excited about processes and quality. And with AI, it has really helped someone like me who's a generalist who has a lot of interest in the overall success, right? Like how to get a product out, how to get a business successful, and AI has been helping. And so my recommendation to anyone is be curious to learn more. Read books that are not your interest area, maybe, right? But it could be, right? Like it's just like have more ideas and thought processes, uh, and and then like try to connect them together to come up with one solution, right? Like it's like really about multiple departments, multiple subjects coming together, and AI helps a lot with like organizing those thoughts. Like just use AI as your confidant, is your expert intern, where how can you connect different ideas together. So that's my recommendation. Is just be curious, try to learn things that are not your comfort zone, and then see like how can you connect them together. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you for that well advice and recommendation, Mr. Osman. And aside from the book that you recommend, can you please give more books that you influence your journey?
100%, 100%. So this book, the reason I wanted to say this is the author, right? He was a psychology professor, and is an expert in psychology, and he won a Nobel in economics, right? So what happened is like he used some of his concepts that he learned in psychology, like how human brains work, and he managed to apply those theories in something else, and he got his Nobel in economics, right? And the key idea in his book is there are two thinking systems in our brain. The first one, which is like impulsive, it gives an answer. Like when we ask something, you know how when someone asks like who let's say like what did you have today, or like what's your favorite book, and like something comes up straight away, right? Or something that we don't have to think about. And then the other one is something where we need our logical or analytical brain, right? Like that's the systems two thinking. And this book talks about really deeply into like when which systems of thinking kicks in, and then how can you like train yourself to be more analytical when it is needed, and then like how humans think, right? Like in general. And this is like a really good category of books that I love, is around psychology, is like how humans think. um and I would say like another set of books, I don't know if you've heard about him, like Naval Ravikant. Like it's super popular on Twitter. He was a co-founder of AngelList. And one of the things that he mentions is like a book can give you ideas, and you don't have to like read a book cover to cover, but it can give you like this one key idea and see how it changes your thought process, right? That's important. Like just one thing, if you can take one insight out of a book, that's what you need. And I read books a lot like that. So I will like quickly give like a few ideas, right? Something that has changed me recently is this book called Infinite Games, right? Simon Sinek, really popular influencer. And his idea is that life is not about finite games, right? Like sports, when we play soccer, when we give a test or an exam in school, it we think it's a finite game, right? Like we give our test, we get a score, we get an A or a B, and that's it. It has a finite time. Same with soccer or basketball. We have a very limited time. We play, we win, we draw, we lose. That's it. It's finite. But life is actually not finite, right? And it's like an infinite game. You have to continuously invest in whatever you need to do to be better in your life, right? So whether it's relationships, whether it's how you learn, it's in your business, constantly you have to constantly improve. Even if you win something, that's not good enough, right? Like you cannot like stop and rest in your laurels, right? Again, it's like super simple logic, but just thinking about it in terms of how I understand it, right? Like games and tests, it helped me a lot. So that's another one of my like key ideas that I got. um I will say I read a lot of self-help books, right? And this idea of you shouldn't stop when you're at the top of whatever you're doing, or you shouldn't be super discouraged when you are at the bottom of your career, or whatever stage you're in. So this book, Peaks and Valleys, is like a really popular self-help book. I really like the concept. It has like this really nice analogy of like actual mountains and hills and troughs and plateaus. And I think like that's really important as a human being, as a professional, whatever. You have to constantly move, constantly figure out when you are like growing up in your success, is do not get complacent, right? And then same when you're going down, when you're like losing, when things are not working out, again, do not think that that's going to be a constant, right? Like constantly think that nothing is going to be permanent. Again, super simple advice, but this book does a really good job explaining it. It's great when I recommend it to younger people, right? Like kids, it's a good one to sort of understand. So those are the three books, right? Thinking Fast and Slow, Infinite Games, Peaks and Valleys, like super high level. Other books, I read a lot of business books. I'm gonna pause there. If you want to me to go in some direction, I'm gonna pause there though.
Yes, and thank you so much for those recommended books, Mr. Oshman. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 of fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in its third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101. in its precision. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Osman, what's one actionable step marketers can take today to start integrating AI agents into their workflow?
I will say start small. Like for me, the one other book I would strongly recommend is like Lean Startup, or like Fast Fail Fast, right? Like that's the concept of building a startup. And I think for a marketer, again, think small. Like think of one problem that takes up a lot of your time. Like do that analysis and see uh, if it can be automated. See if AI can help. Like that's how I would suggest, is like what is that one work that is tedious, that is boring, that you do not want to do every day for like 3 hours, right? And it could be building out reports for your end client. Often that's what people do. It's like data crunching. It's like looking at data and coming up with some report for your end client. And that's not what you want to do. You want to do something more interesting where you are adding value, you're adding more business, you're getting more revenue for your clients, for your business, right? You want to focus on that. You don't want to focus on looking back at the data, analyzing it for like hours. And so I am biased. I would say like that's a lot of marketers maybe do not like that. And so maybe focus on that. um but maybe you are like more interested in like how can I grow my business, right? Like as a marketer, you want to go and get new clients, and AI agents are great at getting you new leads. So I would say like just start with those two. One is like the most boring task maybe for a lot of marketers is like looking at data, analyzing them, figuring and trying to automate some of that boring stuff. Or AI agent that helps you grow your business, right? Looking at the web's data, figuring out who can you go after as your new clients. And AI can do great at researching all of that. So let's go with those two.
Mr. Angshuman Rudra, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything that you're doing right now?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thanks for inviting me. Love your episodes.
Yes, indeed. So where do people can reach you, Mr. Angshuman?
They can reach me on LinkedIn. So my name, as you can see, it has a very specific spelling, ANG. So just
Yes.
search for me on LinkedIn. Would love to connect. I'm always open to give advice, to collaborate, to help out. Please reach out to me.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Angshuman Rudra because if you support him for sure, more and more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Angshuman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Daniel. This was great talking to you.
More to come, people. See you soon.
Take care.